anymore. Like, they're not going to rule on slavery. They're not going to rule on things that are like outdated or things that don't make sense anymore. They're not engaging in what if. They're deciding issues that will then have national application and national relevance. All right, so I'll give you guys a chance to look at that real quickly, and then I'm going to give you 3 different cases. I want you to read through it. I want you to talk to one another, and then try to decide, is the court going to hear this case, yes or no, and tell me why. Remember, you're not deciding the case, you're deciding whether or not to hear the case. Yes, ma'am. Don't worry about it. I've never seen it. I don't know. Because it would be a pretty big deal. Rachel?
What does it mean by better taste in the pipeline?
So, that was like what I said earlier about like they made the decision about same-sex marriage this summer.
Because there was a better, okay.
Yeah, they're trying to kind of pluck out and find the right case to establish whatever it is they're willing to rule on.
About the same issue.
Mhm. All right, so here's the first one. Can y'all read it? You want somebody to read it out loud, don't you? You really want Mike to read it out loud. There you go.
In the spring semester of 2002, Scott County School District instituted a policy that allowed suspicionless campus-wide drug sweeps with the drug-sniffing dogs to be conducted at local schools. At Austin High School in Austin, Indiana, one such search turned up a handgun in a student's car. The student was charged with possession of a firearm on school property. At trial, the defendant moved to suppress the handgun, arguing that it was found as a result of an illegal search. The court denied the motion, and both the Court of Appeals and Indiana Supreme Court affirmed the decision. The petitioner argues that the Supreme Court needs to decide whether the Fourth Amendment allows suspicionless drug sweeps, such as this at school. The respondent argues that lower courts agree that suspicionless, warrantless searches on school grounds are reasonable. No court has held that the Fourth Amendment prohibits this type of drug sweep at school.
Awesome. Okay, so talk with your friends there that you're sitting with and try to decide, are we going to hear this or not, and why?
Yeah, well, like it went all the way up, so like obviously the Supreme Court put it out in New Jersey because it's not our court. Is there enough to say that we should not allow it? That it's really excessive?
I think it's too controversial.
What about people that don't have a lot of routes into that school? Other ways to like pull up students that get in trouble with unwarranted searches, and they don't really have the means to take this particular.
Okay, raise your hand if we're going to hear it. Are y'all still thinking? So none of you think we're going to hear it? Why, Shakiria?
Mostly because none of the other courts have had, like no other state courts have had this issue where they have to see if they have to take it up higher.
Okay, so this last sentence right here, that the court has held, like that there hasn't been any kind of conflict or anything, okay? Did y'all offer any other reasons why? No? Go ahead.
Take it.
Oh, you think we're going to hear it? Okay, why?
We're going to hear it. Because it's a search without a warrant. It's a public high school. And there's not a lot of means for 17-year-olds to get something taken this far. There's not a lot of people advocating for 17-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
So we might not get another case like this.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Rachel?
We also kind of thought that we wouldn't take it because it didn't affect a large number of people, because it's not likely that a drug-sniffing dog would find a handgun in a student's car. Like, this is kind of an unlikely situation.
Okay. Cool. Pretty specialized. All right. Well, this is a real case, and the court did not grant cert. And I think that probably the biggest reason is because what Shakiria said, because there's real consistency in it. You know, that if you find that this is common practice in public high schools in America, I promise you that there are people sitting on the court that are like, oh, I can't believe they do that, and that's so wrong, and they might rule against it if the case were to be taken, but that doesn't mean they're going to take it. And that's a really important thing. And I can't imagine how hard that would be to be sitting there going, "Oh, I hate this. This is wrong." But if in the scope of all of the cases that you're taking, if you're like, "Well, there's just no good reason to take it," then that's kind of where you are. Okay. All right, we're going to skip case 2 because it always confuses people. So we'll just go to case 3. Shakira, will you read this one? Do you mind?
The administration has filed a brief asking the Supreme Court to review a recent decision by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals that deals with public aid to
Parochial.
parochial schools. In Mitchell versus Jones, the Fifth Circuit Court ruled that it is unconstitutional for public schools to provide computers and other instructional equipment for classroom use in religious schools. The Fifth Circuit case was a challenge to a provision of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965, under which public schools receive federal aid for special services and equipment, including computers, and must share these materials on a circular, neutral, and non-ideological basis with students enrolled in private schools within their boundaries. The administration has proposed spending $800 million on an education technology program that would, among other things, help connect every classroom and school library in the country to the internet. Although the Supreme Court ruled 2 years earlier in Agustina versus Sultan that the Constitution permitted public school teachers to offer remedial courses in para,
Parochial. That's okay. Means Catholic.
parochial school classrooms, it is unclear whether using public money to provide computers to religious schools violates the Constitution. The Fifth Circuit has ruled that it does, while the Ninth Circuit issued an opposite ruling in a similar case 3 weeks earlier. The Solicitor General of the U.S. filed a brief asking the court to grant cert.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, same drill. Talk about it. Are we going to grant cert, yes or no? And then I want to know why.
Obviously, grant cert.
They're just yeah, they're doing judicial branch,
They're just
like
too
certain
close.
people
I know.
in a certain complex have solicitor general
Guard.
It's two different circuits. One of these is recently approved.
of the
Well, one of them's 3 years, one of them was
but
just
I
now.
feel like is that what you read
And
from?
yeah, we said
Yeah.
Got so quiet all of a sudden. So what do you think? Raise your hands for yes. Raise your hands for no. All right, you guys are correct. We are going to hear this. Okay, couple of reasons. Big deal is the fact that there is a clear circuit conflict with something that is considered super fundamental. That's like a really big deal, the Establishment Clause. Also, the Solicitor General has asked them to take the case. Again, that doesn't mean that they have to take it, but that means that they will always discuss it. And just so you know, that the court had found that this program did not violate the Establishment Clause. All right, last one. Here we go. Nicholas Boroff, a 17-year-old high school student in Ohio, was sent home from school on consecutive days for wearing a T-shirt depicting shock rocker Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson was often criticized as being satanic and presenting himself as the Antichrist. The shirt was not obscene, but school officials said that he could not wear it at school because it presented immoral, satanic, and offensive images which conflicted with Christian beliefs that were widely held by students and officials at the school. Officials told Boroff that he could return to school if he did not wear a Marilyn Manson T-shirt. The prior school year, Boroff often wore Marilyn Manson T-shirts to school, and it caused no disruption. The school continues to let students wear T-shirts depicting other rock and roll groups, many of which are quite similar to Marilyn Manson. Additionally, some students are allowed to have small Marilyn Manson patches on their backpacks and are not sent home or asked to remove them. Boroff's mother sued the school district for violating her son's First Amendment right to free speech. The district court ruled in favor of the school district, and the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed this decision. The U.S. Supreme Court was asking to decide whether the First Amendment forbids school officials from banning a student from wearing a T-shirt with a message which is contrary to the religious beliefs held by a majority of the students. The Sixth Circuit's ruling is in conflict with the rulings of the Third and Fourth Circuits on the same issue. Alright, raise your hands for yes, we're gonna grant cert. Raise your hands for no. They're not gonna grant cert. Okay? Urte, you said it. Why did you say? It's a really dumb issue. Okay. I wanted to do this one because I want you guys to see an example of a tolerable circuit conflict. What is different about a circuit conflict over dress code versus a circuit conflict over giving money to religious schools?
It doesn't affect a lot of people.
Yeah, doesn't affect a lot of people, but it could. I mean, if it's a school, if it's about school dress code, I mean that could establish a precedent for a lot of people.
Do you think it's like a matter of discretion?
I think that that's a big part of it. I think freedom of speech is fundamental. Is wearing a Marilyn Manson T-shirt really fundamental? Do you know what I mean? I mean, do you see the difference in wearing a Marilyn Manson T-shirt and saying that this is making a statement versus wearing, saying, a political T-shirt and making a statement? This is just my interpretation, so I could be wrong. But I think, so often we like to say that students don't have any rights and the Supreme Court doesn't protect your rights. That is not true. But I do think that they have to consider the situation, and if the purpose of going to school is to get an education, and what you're doing in your expression of your civil liberties gets in the way of the education, the school has a right to subdue that and to use their discretion. So if they're saying in this environment that's a disruption, and you know what, it is stupid, and they're like inconsistent in how they've enforced it, and it's dumb. I just don't know that it's fundamental, and I don't know that it's something that the court needs to take up. You guys are going to look at some examples of some student rights cases in a couple weeks, and you'll see they do sometimes find in favor of the students. It's just, I don't know. This is a tolerable inconsistency.
The one students' rights case, all of it reminds me of is Tinker versus Des Moines.
Yes, we're going to look at that next class. That's who I met, remember? Look, didn't I tell you guys you probably weren't here that day? Did I not tell y'all that I met her? That's Mary Beth Tinker. I got to meet her maybe it was because I didn't miss your class. I'm not sure, but I was gone in February. Anyway, so Miss Decker and Miss Fitzgerald and I went to Austin to a conference, and Mary Beth Tinker came and spoke, and I got a signed black armband. And she emailed me even. I have saved my email. It was pretty. I was excited. It was a pretty big deal. Okay. All right. So have we got cert? All right. So what I want you guys to do now is I want you to flip to the back of your paper, and I am going to ask Gabby to read question 2 to us, please.
How can both the executive branch and interest groups have an impact on the cert process? In your opinion, is this appropriate? Why or why not?
Okay. So you can talk if you need to, or you can answer it on your own, but we will go over it because there is a correct answer to part of it.